Each story represents a slideshow consisting of slides creating a sequence of interactive visualizations and narrative information in form of multimedia annotations like text, audio, or video. The story overview lists all existing stories and enables the creation of new or the import and organization of existing stories. To begin a new story, we first state meta information such as title, author, and copyright. In our example, we will create some story slides with a manually created and imported dataset on Albrecht Dürer. After the creation of the new and empty story, it appears in the story overview, from where we can jump into the edition of it by clicking on its name. The central part of the story creator is the slide editor, where users can craft the single slides for the slideshow story. The slide editor makes use of the data panel to the left, a preview of the actual selected slide in the center, and a story flow, giving an overview of the story slide sequence on the right. On top of the slide editor is the toolbar for the current edited story, allowing to change the layout, downloading the story script, playing the story in the story viewer, or alter the settings and meta information of the story. Each of the slides consists of interactive visualizations and multimedia content chunks or their juxtaposition. Therefore, the slides are able to include up to one visualization panel, symbolized by the white background here. This panel utilizes the visualization wizard known from the Visual Analytics Studio and allows to create new visualizations or the import of already existing visualization in the system from the VAS or previous story slides. All of the visualizations have an option dialog for further settings reachable by the according icon in the toolbar on the top of the visualization panel. The data in form of entities and their related events can be added to the visualizations by drag and drop interactions or the click on the according plus buttons. Additionally, to the visualization panel, each slide can have up to 2 content panels symbolized by the blue background. These content panels represent the space for the arrangement of additional multimedia content chunks in the slide layout. The content chunks can be created via the content wizard, offering text, image, quiz, video and audio, and customizable HTML containers as options. The single content chunks within one content panel can be rearranged and resized by drag and drop mouse interactions. Analog to the visualizations, each content chunk has additional options to further define the characteristics of it. When starting to edit a new story, we are presented by the first empty slide with a proposed layout of a visualization on the left side and an area for content annotations on the right. Here we start with an overview of Albrecht Dürer's life in a timeline. Therefore, we create a new and empty timeline by a button click. After selecting our wished collection in the data panel on the left, we are able to browse the contained entities and select Albrecht Dürer as person. By dragging his list entry and dropping it over the timeline, we are adding all of his related events to the timeline to see an overview of his lifetime events. To configure seamless transitions within one visualization throughout different slides, we are selecting focus events to zoom on, as we see here with the birth event. To mark and highlight single events in the timeline or map visualizations, it needs one click. The marked event will be highlighted with a bold label and a yellow outline. In the resulting preview in the story viewer, the visualization will zoom automatically onto the highlighted events, which can be also multiple, so that the camera would zoom and pan into the timeline to highlight the birth event within its context here. To describe the birth event by a text consisting of a title and a text paragraph, acting as our narrative thread here, we are creating a new text content element on the right, so the blue side. The title and the text can be added or edited by clicking into the placeholders or text itself, In this case here, we are contextualizing the birth event of Albrecht Dürer to give some insights into the circumstances. To add a second slide, we have to use the Add Slide button on the bottom of the story flow to the right. This is also the space where the order of the slides can be changed and slides can be duplicated or deleted. Through this slide overview, we also change the selected slide in the main part of the slide editor to adjust the contents. In the visualization wizard, there is an option to add already existing visualizations which were created in the Visual Analytics Studio or within previous slides. By scrolling through the drop-down menu, we can select timeline, map and network visualizations grouped regarding their type. After clicking the Open button, the existing visualization will be duplicated and included in the visualization container for the reuse of it. In this case, the map is showing an already customized map view, showing an overview over the business-oriented journey of Albrecht Dürer towards and through the Netherlands. Notable here is that the view extent of the map visualization and the current zoom level are saved within the visualization properties so that they can be loaded and applied later or while replaying the story in the story viewer. This behavior can then also be used to enforce specific camera pans within the spatial narration. To make the visualized trip to the Netherlands by Albrecht Dürer more tangible, we are adding an image as content chunk to our slide. This is done by first adding a new, empty image on the right, so the blue content pane. Afterwards, we are editing the details of it by utilizing the settings button on the top right corner of the image placeholder. There we can link to the image resource hosted externally by stating a web link to it. To add more context to the narration, we are also adding a descriptive text as caption to the image. The default layout of one white visualization panel and one blue panel for content is only a proposal. In fact, the layout of each single slide can be changed by the Layout button on top of the slide preview. By clicking it, a pop-up is displaying the 4 different options using the same color coding as thumbnail previews next to title and short description. Here we are changing the layout to 2 blue content panels next to each other. We are using the changed layout to configure the slide so that we have an image on the left and further annotation on the right. After adding the empty image on the left, we are stating the link to a painting of the Austrian city Innsbruck, where Albrecht Dürer went to on his travels towards the Netherlands. On the right of the 2 columns content layout, we are creating a multiple choice quiz by clicking Quiz at the content wizard. The detail setting screen of the quiz features an option to state questions by text input. The multiple answers are stated as well by the text fields accompanied by checkboxes to select the correct answer. In this case, we are asking the question in the context of the adjacent image of Innsbruck. The quiz is previewed then in a story creator with color-coded correct or wrong answers. Towards the end of Albrecht Dürer's story, we are annotating his death and burial with a 3-dimensional representation of his grave. For that, we are utilizing the flexible hypertext markup language HTML container where the users can include any HTML content which is then rendered as part of the story slide. Utilizing this technique, we are going to include a 3D model preview of the 3-dimensional surface model of Albrecht Dürer's grave hosted on Sketchfab by using an HTML iframe. Further, multimedia contents can be added via the video or audio content chunk. Similar to the configuration of an image, the content itself is only linked by presenting an URL link. Additionally, for the replay of the content, users can state the starting second via the content setting to directly jump to the important part within the medium. The download button on the top of the slide editor allows the users to preview and download the story script as JSON file to persist the created stories, including all needed information and data. The downloaded JSON file can be imported then afterwards again or sent to someone else. To import an exported and downloaded story script, the story overview has an upload button. After the selection of a fitting JSON file, it will be processed and the story is added to the story overview list. The 5 representative and manually created Intavia story use cases are available for import via the interface of the story creator as well. Therefore, an additional button in the story overview exists, which activates a drop-down menu where we can select the wished showcase story as template in inspiration for further development. The created stories can be peer-viewed and played in a responsive manner via the story viewer, an external application, via the play button on top of the slide editor. By pressing the button, the story is sent as story script to the story viewer, where it is stored in a database for later use. The response is a link to the interactive story via the according ID. The link is opened in a new tab so that the story can be previewed and reviewed smoothly. This play button can be also found in a story overview next to the stories in case of the example use cases.